The factory closure announcement came on a Tuesday in March, delivered through a corporate email that reduced 37 years of automotive assembly to 3 paragraphs of operational restructuring. By Thursday, the parking lot was empty except for the security guard's rusted Buick and the graffiti someone had spray painted across the main entrance. Sold out again. I spent 6 weeks applying for positions that either didn't exist or paid less than my unemployment benefits. Manufacturing jobs had evaporated across the entire region, leaving behind strip malls full of dollar stores and check-cashing services. Sarah was working double shifts at the hospital, but her income alone couldn't cover our mortgage and the kids' expenses. The house we'd spent 15 years building equity in was becoming an anchor dragging us toward bankruptcy. The Blackwood Research Institute job posting appeared on a Tuesday evening, buried in the 3rd page of an employment website I'd never heard of. The listing was remarkably straightforward. Night custodial position, federal research facility, competitive wages, benefits, immediate start. Experience with industrial cleaning preferred but not required. The pay rate made me reread the posting 3 times. $43 per hour for custodial work was more than I'd earned as a shift supervisor at the plant. Either this was a typo or something was significantly unusual about the position. I submitted my application before I could overthink the situation. The response came within 2 hours, which should have been my first warning sign. Professional communications don't typically arrive at 11:47 p.m. from governmental email addresses with cryptic department codes. Mr. Harrison, thank you for your interest in the custodial position at Blackwood Research Institute. Please report to Building A, reception desk, tomorrow at 8:00 p.m. for your interview. Bring photo identification and wear closed-toe shoes. Ask for Mr. Valdez. Do not arrive early or late. The specificity struck me as odd, but desperate people don't question good fortune too closely. The Blackwood Research Institute sat 47 miles outside town, accessible only through a winding county road that passed abandoned farmhouses and overgrown fields. The facility itself was larger than I'd expected, a complex of interconnected buildings surrounding a central courtyard, all constructed in that anonymous governmental style that suggests important work conducted away from public oversight. Security protocols were immediately apparent. The perimeter fence was topped with razor wire, and multiple guard stations controlled access to different sections of the complex. Warning signs were posted every 50 feet. Unsecreted personnel only. Biological hazard. Federal property. Presbyters will be prosecuted. Mr. Valdez met me in the reception area of Building A, a sterile space dominated by fluorescent lighting and motivational posters about workplace safety. He was a compact man in his early 50s, with graying hair and the kind of deliberately neutral expression that suggested years of managing information on a need-to-know basis. "You're punctual," he said, checking his watch. "That's essential for this position. The work requires strict adherence to schedules and protocols." He handed me a clipboard containing standard employment forms and a document titled Facility Operations Manual, Custodial Staff. The manual was substantially thicker than I'd expected for a cleaning position. "Before we discuss salary and benefits," Mr. Valdez continued, "I need to review the operational requirements. This facility maintains specific environmental and security standards that cannot be compromised. Deviation from established protocols isn't just grounds for termination, it's a federal offense." He led me to a small conference room where a pot of coffee sat next to a stack of laminated cards. Each card contained a numbered rule in bold text. "These are non-negotiable," he said, spreading the cards across the table. "Memorize them. Your life depends on following them exactly." Blackwood Research Institute Custodial Protection. Never enter Laboratory 7 between 2:00 and 4:00 a.m. The air filtration system is offline during this period for maintenance. If you hear humming sounds from sublevel B, continue your assigned work and do not investigate. Report any changes in intensity or frequency to your supervisor. Count the security cameras each night during your rounds. There should be exactly 12 visible red lights. If the count is incorrect, Immediately contact Security Station Alpha. The freezer unit in Break Room C must remain locked at all times. Do not attempt to access this unit for any reason. Never clean the windows in the West Wing observation deck. These surfaces require specialized maintenance protocols. If any doors show signs of forced entry or damage, report immediately to Security Station Alpha, but do not attempt repairs or investigation. Ignore any requests for assistance that come through the intercom system after midnight. All legitimate communications will come through your assigned supervisor. Maintain a minimum distance of 10 feet from any areas marked with yellow biohazard tape. These zones are under active environmental monitoring. If you observe any staff members in the facility after 1 o'clock, do not acknowledge or interact with them. Continue your work as scheduled. The elevator to sublevel C is restricted. Your key card will not grant access. Do not attempt to override security measures. Mr. Valdez watched me read through the rules twice. Questions? This seems like more than basic custodial work, I said carefully. The pay reflects the specialized nature of the position. You'll be working alone most nights, maintaining a facility that conducts sensitive research. Think of yourself as a guardian of federal assets. The salary discussion eliminated my remaining hesitations. Base pay of $43 per hour, plus differential for night work, plus federal benefits, including health insurance that would cover Sarah's prescriptions and the kids' dental work. After 6 weeks of unemployment, I would have agreed to much more demanding conditions. When do I start? Tonight. Your shift runs from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., Sunday through Thursday. You'll report to Building A, collect your equipment from the custodial office, and follow the route map provided in your manual. He handed me a key card and a small radio. These are your primary tools. The key card grants access to areas requiring maintenance. The radio connects you to Security Station Alpha in case of emergencies. What kind of emergencies should I expect? Mr. Valdez's expression remained carefully neutral. Equipment malfunctions primarily, power fluctuations, climate control issues, nothing you'll need to repair personally. Just report and continue your assigned duties. The custodial office was located in the basement of Building A, down a corridor lined with pipes and electrical conduits that hummed with constant energy. My equipment consisted of standard cleaning supplies, a maintenance cart, and a detailed map of the facility showing my nightly route. The Blackwood complex was larger than it appeared from outside. My route covered 3 main buildings connected by enclosed walkways, plus a partial circuit through what the map labeled as observation areas and monitoring stations. Total walking distance was approximately 2 miles, designed to be completed in 6 hours, allowing for cleaning tasks. Started in Building A, working through administrative offices and conference rooms that appeared to be in regular use. Desk surfaces showed recent activity. Coffee rings, scattered papers, computer workstations still warm to the touch. For a supposedly decommissioned facility, there were clear signs of ongoing operations. The first unusual incident occurred around 11:30 p.m. in the main corridor of Building B. As I was mopping the floor, I heard distinct humming sounds from below, exactly what Rule 2 had specified. The sound was rhythmic, almost musical, like a large mechanical device cycling through operational patterns. I continued mopping, as instructed, but couldn't shake the feeling that something was responding to my presence. The humming seemed to intensify when I moved closer to certain floor vents, then fade as I worked away from them. At midnight, I conducted my first security camera count. The cameras were easy to spot, small black domes with red LED indicators showing active status. I found 12 exactly, distributed throughout the facility according to a pattern that provided comprehensive coverage of all main corridors and entry points. Building C presented the first serious challenge to my assumptions about this job. The West Wing observation deck contained a series of large windows overlooking what appeared to be an outdoor courtyard. But something was fundamentally wrong with the view. The courtyard was too deep. The windows seemed to look down into a space that extended far below ground level, illuminated by harsh floodlights that revealed concrete structures and what might have been laboratory equipment. This was clearly not an abandoned facility. Rule 5 specifically prohibited cleaning these windows, and I could see why. The glass surfaces showed signs of some kind of reaction. Discoloration, etching patterns, areas where the transparency had been compromised. Whatever was happening in that courtyard, it was producing environmental effects that required specialized handling. The rest of the night passed without major incidents. I completed my route, secured my equipment, and left the facility at 6 a.m. The morning sunlight felt unusually harsh after 8 hours in artificial lighting, and I found myself squinting even with sunglasses. Sarah was already at work when I got home, but she'd left coffee and a note asking about the new job. I settled into our kitchen and tried to formulate an explanation that wouldn't sound insane. Federal custodial position at a research facility. Good pay, regular hours, mostly straightforward cleaning work with some security monitoring responsibilities. This was technically accurate while omitting the increasingly obvious fact that Blackwood Research Institute was conducting active operations under the pretense of decommissioning. By the end of my first week, several patterns had become clear. The facility operated on multiple levels of classification, with my custodial access representing only the most basic clearance tier. There were entire sections of the complex that my keycard couldn't open, areas marked with biohazard symbols, and radiation warnings that suggested research far more serious than I'd been told. The humming from sub-level B followed a consistent schedule. It began around 11:15 p.m. each night, reached peak intensity between 1 to 2 a.m., then gradually faded until about 4:30 a.m. The sound was definitely mechanical, but there were harmonic elements that seemed almost organic, like machinery designed to interface with biological systems. More concerning were the signs of recent human activity throughout the facility. In addition to offices that were clearly in regular use, I began noticing personal items in areas that should have been abandoned, coffee cups that were still warm, computer workstations with active screensavers, laboratory equipment that was clearly operational. Rule 9 specifically addressed potential encounters with staff members after 1 o'clock, which suggested that such encounters were not only possible but expected. I hadn't seen anyone yet, but the feeling of being observed was becoming stronger each night. The security camera count remained consistent at 12 visible red lights, but I was beginning to notice subtle changes in their positioning. Cameras that I remembered pointing in one direction would be angled differently the next night, as if they were being remotely adjusted to track specific areas of interest. Break Room C became a source of particular fascination. The locked freezer unit was clearly operational. I could hear the compressor cycling and feel cold air seeping from around the door seals. The lock itself was electronic, requiring a key card with higher clearance than mine. But the most unsettling aspect was the periodic condensation that formed on the outer surface, creating patterns that looked almost like handprints. Laboratory 7 remained off limits during the specified hours, but I could observe it from the corridor during my regular rounds. The space was clearly active, with computer workstations running complex processes and equipment that appeared to be monitoring biological samples. The offline air filtration system was obviously a cover story for something far more sensitive. During my second week, I began experiencing physical changes that I initially attributed to adjusting to night shift work. My sense of smell became significantly more acute. I could detect subtle chemical odors throughout the facility, ranging from standard cleaning products to more exotic compounds that seemed to emanate from restricted areas. My night vision also improved dramatically. Areas that had required flashlight illumination during my first few shifts became easily navigable with minimal artificial lighting. This was convenient for my work, but the rate of adaptation seemed faster than normal physiological adjustment. Most significantly, I found myself developing an intuitive understanding of the facility's operational rhythms. I could sense when equipment was running at peak capacity, when environmental systems were cycling through maintenance protocols, when security measures were being adjusted in real time. The breakthrough came during my third week, on a Thursday night when the weather outside was particularly severe. A storm system had moved through the region, causing power fluctuations throughout the Blackwood complex. Emergency lighting activated several times, and my radio crackled with automated alerts about backup generator status. I was working in Building C around 1:30 when the main lights went out completely. Emergency illumination provided minimal visibility, and I used my flashlight to continue cleaning the administrative offices. That's when I heard footsteps in the corridor. Rule 9 was explicit. Do not acknowledge or interact with staff members observed after 1 o'clock. But the footsteps were approaching my location, and I couldn't pretend I hadn't heard them. A woman appeared in the doorway of the office where I was working. She was wearing a white lab coat over street clothes, and her appearance was immediately unsettling. Her skin had a pale, almost translucent quality, and her eyes reflected light in a way that suggested significant adaptation to low light conditions. "You're the new custodian," she said. Her voice carried a slight echo, as if she were speaking from a greater distance than her physical position indicated. I continued working, following the protocol as closely as possible without being deliberately rude. "I'm Dr. Sarah Chen. I've been working here for quite some time now. How are you adjusting to the night schedule?" The question seemed innocent enough, but there was something in her tone that suggested deeper significance. She moved closer, and I noticed that her footsteps made no sound on the tiled floor. "The work is straightforward," I said carefully. "Following the protocols, completing the assigned routes." "Protocols are important," she agreed. "They keep everyone safe. But understanding why the protocols exist, that's what makes the real difference." Dr. Chen gestured toward the windows overlooking the courtyard. "You've noticed that this facility isn't exactly decommissioned. I focus on my assigned duties." Smart approach, but eventually you'll need to understand what you're really maintaining. The Blackwood Research Institute has been operational for 43 years, conducting research into biological enhancement and environmental adaptation. What you see as rules and restrictions are actually containment protocols. She paused, studying my reaction. "Your body is already beginning to adapt. Enhanced senses, improved night vision, intuitive awareness of environmental changes. These aren't side effects of night shift work. They're early stages of controlled physiological enhancement." The lights flickered back on, and Dr. Chen stepped backward into the corridor. "Your supervisor will explain more as you progress. For now, continue following the protocols exactly. Your safety and the safety of your family depend on successful integration." She walked away, her footsteps still making no sound, leaving me alone with questions I couldn't safely ask. Dr. Chen's revelation recontextualized everything I'd experienced over the past 3 weeks. The physical changes I'd been attributing to workplace adjustment were actually signs of biological modification. The facility wasn't just conducting research. It was conducting research on its employees. I should have been terrified. Instead, I found myself curious about the process and its implications. The enhanced senses were undeniably useful for my work, allowing me to detect equipment problems and environmental hazards before they became serious issues. If this was enhancement rather than contamination, what were the full parameters of the transformation? Over the following nights, I began paying closer attention to my physical responses and capabilities. My stamina had increased significantly. I could complete the full custodial route without fatigue, and I was sleeping better during the day despite the schedule adjustment. My reflexes had quickened, and my coordination had improved to the point where I could navigate the facility in near complete darkness. Most intriguingly, I was developing what could only be described as environmental awareness. I could sense when the facility's systems were operating normally versus when they were under stress. I could detect the presence of other people in the building, even when they were several corridors away. The humming from sublevel B had become a kind of background music that I could interpret for information about the facility's operational status. The transformation wasn't limited to physical capabilities. I found myself thinking differently about my role and responsibilities. The custodial work was no longer just a job, it was a critical function in maintaining a complex biological and technological ecosystem. I was becoming integrated into the facility's operational matrix in ways that extended far beyond cleaning and security monitoring. During my 4th week, I encountered my second staff member, a man in his 60s wearing civilian clothes and a security badge that identified him as Dr. Marcus Webb, Senior Research Coordinator. He was waiting for me in the custodial office when I arrived for my shift. "Good evening, Harrison. I'm Dr. Webb. I understand you've been making excellent progress in your adaptation to our operational requirements. Dr. Chin mentioned that the facility conducts research into biological enhancement. Dr. Chin is part of our environmental monitoring team. She tracks the integration process for new personnel and ensures that enhancement protocols are proceeding safely." Dr. Webb handed me a cup of coffee that tasted different from anything I'd experienced, richer with subtle flavors that seemed to activate receptors I hadn't known I possessed. The Blackwood Research Institute specializes in controlled human evolution. We develop biological enhancements that improve survival capabilities, environmental adaptation, and cognitive function. Our work has applications for deep space exploration, extreme environment operations, and long-term species development. He gestured around the custodial office, which I now realized contained monitoring equipment disguised as standard maintenance supplies. "Your custodial position provides perfect cover for the integration process. You're exposed to controlled doses of enhancement agents through environmental contact, while your work duties provide regular assessment opportunities." What exactly is happening to me? Improvement. Your body is developing capabilities that will allow you to function more effectively in challenging environments. Enhanced senses, improved physical coordination, increased resistance to environmental toxins, expanded cognitive processing. The changes are permanent, but completely beneficial. Dr. Webb opened a file folder containing medical charts and behavioral assessments. "Your integration is proceeding faster than average, which suggests strong compatibility with our enhancement protocols. This is excellent news for your long-term career prospects." Career prospects? The custodial position is entry-level. As your capabilities develop, you'll become eligible for advancement within our research programs. Many of our senior staff began as facility maintenance personnel. He finished his coffee and stood to leave. "Continue following the protocols exactly. The next phase of your development will begin soon, and it requires precise environmental conditioning." Dr. Webb's explanation transformed my understanding of the Blackwood Research Institute from a mysterious government facility to a sophisticated biological modification program. The rules I'd been following weren't just safety protocols, they were carefully designed exposure parameters that controlled the pace and direction of my physiological enhancement. Laboratory 7's restricted access hours corresponded to periods when enhancement agents were being dispersed into the facility's air circulation system. The humming from sublevel B was the sound of biological processing equipment that created the compounds responsible for human modification. The security cameras weren't just monitoring for intruders, they were tracking the behavioral and physical changes in enhanced personnel. Breakroom C's locked freezer contained biological samples related to the enhancement process, possibly including specimens from various stages of human development. The West Wing observation deck's restricted windows overlooked active research areas where the effects of enhancement were being studied in controlled conditions. Most significantly, the prohibition against responding to intercom requests after midnight was designed to prevent contact with research subjects who were undergoing intensive modification phases. These individuals might not be fully stable or capable of normal human interaction. My own transformation was accelerating. By the end of my 4th week, I could navigate the entire facility without artificial lighting, relying on enhanced vision that seemed to operate across multiple spectra. My hearing had become sensitive enough to distinguish between different types of electrical equipment based on their operational frequencies. I could detect chemical signatures from laboratory areas that provided information about the research being conducted in spaces I couldn't access. The most remarkable development was my growing connection to the facility's biological systems. I could sense when enhancement processes were active in restricted areas, when research subjects were undergoing modification, when the facility's environmental balance was shifting in response to experimental protocols. This awareness extended beyond the building itself. I found myself attuned to the natural environment surrounding Blackwood, sensing the movement of wildlife, changes in weather patterns, even subtle variations in atmospheric pressure. It was as if my nervous system had expanded to encompass a much larger territory. During my 5th week, I experienced my first direct encounter with an active research subject. I was working in Building B around 2 o'clock when I heard sounds from a restricted corridor. Not the mechanical humming I'd grown accustomed to, but something that might have been human vocalization. The sounds were distressed, urgent, possibly representing a medical emergency. Rule 7 specifically prohibited responding to requests for assistance through the intercom system, but this wasn't coming through official channels. Someone in distress was only 50 feet away from my location. After several minutes of internal debate, I approached the restricted corridor to assess the situation. The sounds were definitely human, but modified in ways that suggested significant physiological changes. The vocalizations contained harmonics and frequencies that normal human vocal cords couldn't produce. Through a partially open doorway, I could see into what appeared to be a medical observation room. A figure was secured to a monitoring bed, connected to various life support and assessment systems. The individual's body showed signs of extensive modification, enhanced musculature, altered skeletal structure, and what appeared to be additional sensory organs. The figure turned toward my location and made eye contact. There was intelligence in the gaze, recognition, and something that might have been gratitude for the acknowledgement. The vocalization ceased, replaced by a kind of satisfied settling, as if my presence had provided necessary reassurance. I returned to my assigned duties, but the encounter had fundamentally altered my understanding of the research being conducted at Blackwood. This wasn't just enhancement. It was transformation into something beyond standard human parameters. The next morning, Mr. Valdez was waiting for me in the custodial office with my performance evaluation and advancement paperwork. "Your integration has been exceptional," he said, reviewing charts that tracked my physical and behavioral changes over the past 5 weeks. "You're ready for expanded responsibilities and access to additional areas of the facility." He handed me a new key card with higher clearance levels and a modified protocol list that included previously restricted areas. "You'll now be maintaining Sublevel A and portions of the West Wing research areas. This represents a significant increase in responsibility and compensation." The salary adjustment was substantial, $57 per hour plus enhanced benefits that included family medical coverage and educational assistance for my children. But the most significant change was the expanded understanding of my role within the Blackwood operational matrix. "You're no longer just a custodian," Mr. Valdez explained. "You're a facility integration specialist, responsible for maintaining the environmental conditions that support our research programs. This includes direct interaction with research subjects and participation in enhancement monitoring protocols." My new duties included daily assessment reports on facility conditions, weekly biological sampling for environmental monitoring, and periodic consultation with research staff regarding optimal facility maintenance for various experimental protocols. More importantly, I was now authorized to provide assistance to research subjects in distress, following specific guidelines that prioritized both human welfare and research continuity. The prohibition against responding to intercom requests remained in effect, but direct encounters with individuals undergoing enhancement were now part of my official responsibilities. "Your family will also be enrolled in our long-term health monitoring program," Mr. Valdez continued. "This includes comprehensive medical care and educational opportunities that reflect your advancing position within our organization." The implications were clear. My employment at Blackwood had evolved from a temporary solution to economic hardship into a permanent integration into a biological enhancement community. My family was now part of the program, whether they knew it or not. What exactly are the long-term implications of this enhancement process? Improved quality of life, extended lifespan, enhanced cognitive and physical capabilities, and opportunities for service in environments that normal humans cannot access. Many of our enhanced personnel participate in deep space missions, oceanic research, and extreme environment exploration. Mr. Valdez opened a file containing photographs of enhanced individuals in various operational settings, underwater research stations, and Arctic installations, what appeared to be lunar or planetary surface facilities. Your transformation opens possibilities that extend far beyond custodial work. And if I want to discontinue the process, the changes are irreversible, but they're also beneficial. Most personnel find that their enhanced capabilities significantly improve their professional and personal lives. Resistance to the process is rare and typically reflects incomplete understanding of the advantages being provided. My expanded access revealed the true scope of Blackwood Research Institute's operations. Sublevel A contained biological laboratories where the enhancement process was developed and refined. I could observe research staff conducting experiments on tissue samples, monitoring cellular development, and analyzing the effects of various enhancement compounds. The West Wing research areas included observation facilities where enhanced individuals were assessed during different phases of their transformation. These weren't prison cells or containment units. They were sophisticated monitoring environments where research subjects received medical support while their developing capabilities were studied and documented. My role as integration specialist required me to maintain optimal environmental conditions for these research areas, which meant understanding the biological requirements of enhanced individuals at various stages of development. Some subjects required specific atmospheric compositions, others needed particular temperature ranges, and many required social contact with individuals who understood their transformation experience. I began spending significant portions of my shifts in direct interaction with research subjects, providing not just facility maintenance but emotional support and practical assistance. Many of these individuals had undergone more extensive enhancement than my own early-stage modifications, and they served as mentors for my continued development. Dr. Elena Vasquez had been at Blackwood for 8 years, progressing from administrative staff to enhanced research coordinator. Her modifications included expanded sensory capabilities that allowed her to monitor biological processes through direct observation, enhanced cognitive processing that enabled her to manage multiple complex research protocols simultaneously, and improved physical coordination that made her exceptionally effective in laboratory environments. The transition can be overwhelming, she explained during one of our consultation sessions. You're not just gaining new capabilities. You're joining a community of individuals who share similar enhancements and understand the challenges of expanded human potential. Dr. Vasquez introduced me to other enhanced personnel throughout the facility. Dr. James Morrison had been a maintenance engineer before his enhancement and now managed the facility's advanced life support systems. Dr. Lisa Chang had started as a security guard and was currently leading research into environmental adaptation technologies. Blackwood doesn't just enhance individuals, Dr. Morisani explained. It creates communities of enhanced people who can support each other through the transformation process and collaborate on projects that exceed normal human capabilities. The social aspect of enhancement was as significant as the biological changes. Enhanced individuals developed communication methods that utilized their expanded sensory capabilities, allowing for complex information exchange that normal humans couldn't access. They also formed professional and personal relationships based on shared experiences of transformation and expanded potential. My own capabilities continued developing throughout my 6th and 7th weeks. I could now interface directly with the facility's biological monitoring systems, providing real-time assessment of environmental conditions and research subject status. My enhanced senses allowed me to detect medical emergencies, equipment malfunctions, and research protocol deviations before they became serious problems. Most remarkably, I was developing empathic connections with other enhanced individuals that allowed for direct communication of emotional states and complex concepts. This wasn't telepathy in any science fiction sense, but rather an expanded form of nonverbal communication that utilized enhanced sensory processing and environmental awareness. The 7th week brought the first direct impact on my family. Sarah noticed the physical changes, improved muscle tone, enhanced coordination, better stamina, and began asking questions about my work environment and health status. "You look better than you have in years," she said over breakfast. "Whatever they're doing at that facility, it's good for you." My enhanced senses could detect subtle changes in her physiology that suggested she was also being affected by environmental exposure. The medical monitoring program that Mr. Valdez had mentioned was apparently already active, providing low-level enhancement agents through modified water supplies and air filtration systems in our home. The kids were showing similar signs of improvement: better focused school, increased physical coordination, enhanced problem-solving capabilities. These changes were subtle enough to appear like normal development, but my enhanced awareness could detect the systematic nature of their improvement. Dr. Chen visited our home during my 8th week, ostensibly to conduct a routine health assessment as part of my employment benefits. In reality, she was monitoring my family's integration into the enhancement program and ensuring that their development proceeded safely. "Your children are showing excellent compatibility with the enhancement protocols," she reported. "Their cognitive development is accelerating, and they're displaying enhanced pattern recognition and environmental awareness." "Are you modifying my family without their consent?" "We're providing health improvements that will benefit them throughout their lives. The changes are gradual, beneficial, and irreversible. They'll have opportunities for education and career development that wouldn't be available to unenhanced individuals." Sarah was in the kitchen preparing dinner while Dr. Chen conducted her assessment. Through my enhanced hearing, I could detect changes in Sarah's cardiovascular and neurological function that indicated early-stage enhancement. She was becoming stronger, more alert, and more capable of handling the demands of her hospital work. "Family integration is a natural progression," Dr. Chen explained. "Enhanced individuals function best when their immediate community shares similar capabilities and understanding. Your children will have educational opportunities at specialized institutions, and Sarah will be offered advancement opportunities within the Medical Enhancement Research Network." The ethical implications were staggering. My decision to accept employment at Blackwood had committed my entire family to biological modification without their knowledge or consent. But the changes were undeniably beneficial, and the opportunities being provided were far beyond anything we could have accessed through conventional means. What are the long-term implications for their lives? Extended lifespan, enhanced cognitive and physical capabilities, resistance to disease and environmental toxins, and access to career opportunities in deep space exploration, oceanic research, and extreme environment operations. They'll be part of the next phase of human development. By my 10th week at Blackwood, the transformation had reached what Dr. Webb described as stable integration phase. My physical capabilities had plateaued at levels significantly beyond normal human parameters, but the cognitive and sensory enhancements continued developing in ways that expanded my understanding of both the facility and my role within its operations. I could now interface directly with the facility's biological systems, monitoring research progress and environmental conditions through sensory contact with specialized monitoring stations. My awareness extended throughout the entire complex, allowing me to track the status of research subjects, equipment operations, and security protocols simultaneously. The custodial aspects of my job had evolved into something more resembling facility management. I was responsible for maintaining optimal conditions for research activities, coordinating between different departments, and providing support services for enhanced personnel throughout the complex. My relationship with research subjects had also deepened significantly. Many of these individuals were undergoing more extensive modifications than my own, developing capabilities that pushed the boundaries of human potential. Some were being prepared for deep space missions that would require survival in environments completely hostile to normal human life. Others were developing enhanced cognitive processing that allowed them to interface directly with advanced computer systems and research equipment. Dr. Kevin Park had been undergoing enhancement for 3 years, developing modifications that allowed him to survive in underwater environments for extended periods. His respiratory system had been modified to extract oxygen from water, his circulation had been enhanced to function under high pressure, and his sensory capabilities had been expanded to navigate effectively in oceanic environments. "The transition is comprehensive," he explained during one of our consultation sessions. "You don't just gain new capabilities, you become something fundamentally different from baseline humans. But the potential for exploration and discovery is incredible." Dr. Park was scheduled for deployment to an underwater research station in the Pacific, where he would spend 6 months conducting deep ocean research that would be impossible for normal humans. His enhanced capabilities made him uniquely qualified for this assignment, and his work would contribute to understanding oceanic ecosystems and potential resources for human expansion. Similar enhancement programs were preparing individuals for other extreme environments. Dr. Sarah Kim was developing modifications that would allow her to function in high radiation environments, preparing for assignments in nuclear research and space exploration. Dr. Michael Torres was undergoing atmospheric adaptation that would enable him to work in the thin atmosphere of high-altitude research stations. Blackwood is developing the personnel needed for human expansion into environments that are currently inaccessible, Dr. Webb explained during my quarterly review. "Your role is evolving from facility maintenance to preparation for advanced deployment opportunities." The advancement opportunity came during my 11th week, presented as a natural progression from facility integration specialist to field deployment coordinator. The position would involve managing enhanced personnel assignments to various research installations, coordinating between facility-based research and field operations, and ensuring that deployment sites maintain the environmental conditions necessary for enhanced individuals. The salary increase was substantial, $74 per hour plus comprehensive benefits, deployment bonuses, and family support services. But more significantly, the position would involve travel to research installations worldwide, providing opportunities to work with enhanced personnel in various specialized environments. "Your integration has been exceptionally successful," Mr. Valdez explained. "You've demonstrated strong compatibility with enhancement protocols, excellent facility management capabilities, and effective communication with enhanced personnel at various development stages. The position would require additional modifications to my existing enhancements, including expanded environmental adaptation capabilities, enhanced communication systems, and improved coordination with biological monitoring equipment. These modifications would be more extensive than my previous changes, but they would also provide capabilities that approach the level of research personnel like Dr. Park and Dr. Kim." What are the specific requirements for this position? Coordination of enhanced personnel deployments to Arctic research stations, oceanic installations, high-altitude observatories, and preliminary space-based facilities. You'll ensure that these installations maintain the biological and technological systems necessary for enhanced individuals to function effectively. Mr. Valdez opened a file containing photographs and technical specifications for various research installations, Arctic stations built into ice formations, underwater laboratories attached to oceanic trenches, high-altitude facilities constructed on remote mountain peaks, and orbital research platforms designed for extended space-based operations. Enhanced personnel require specialized support systems that normal humans can't provide. Your role would be ensuring that these systems function correctly and that enhanced individuals have the environmental and social support necessary for effective research operations. The implications extended far beyond career advancement. Accepting this position would commit me to a life of service within the enhanced community, managing installations and personnel that existed outside normal human society. My family would become part of this expanded community, with opportunities and responsibilities that reflected their own developing enhancements. My family's integration. How does that affect this opportunity? Family units function more effectively than individual enhanced personnel in isolated environments. Sarah's medical background makes her an excellent candidate for enhanced medical research, and your children's early-stage development suggests strong potential for specialized education programs. The decision to accept the field deployment coordinator position required understanding that my family was no longer part of the conventional human community. Sarah's enhancement had progressed to the point where she was being recruited for advanced medical research positions within the enhanced personnel network. Her hospital work had become a cover for data collection on enhancement effects in unmodified populations. The medical research opportunities are incredible, she explained over dinner during my 12th week. I'm working with biological systems and treatment protocols that are decades ahead of conventional medicine. The work we're doing will revolutionize human health and longevity. Sarah's enhancement had given her intuitive understanding of biological processes that allowed her to diagnose conditions through direct observation, develop treatment protocols for enhanced individuals, and coordinate medical support for extreme environment deployments. Her capabilities now exceeded those of conventional medical professionals by orders of magnitude. The children's development had accelerated to the point where conventional education was inadequate for their needs. They were being enrolled in specialized programs designed for enhanced youth, with curricula that included advanced sciences, environmental adaptation training, and preparation for eventual deployment to research installations. We're learning about things that normal kids can't understand, my daughter Emma explained. How to survive in different environments, how to work with enhanced equipment, how to communicate with people who have different kinds of enhancements. My son David was showing particular aptitude for biological systems interface, developing capabilities that would allow him to manage the life support systems for enhanced personnel in extreme environments. His career path was already being planned around deep space exploration and planetary colonization missions. The enhanced community at Blackwood had become our primary social network. Enhanced families formed close relationships based on shared experiences and mutual support during the transformation process. Children grew up together, developing capabilities that complemented each other and prepared them for collaborative work in enhanced research teams. Dr. Chin had become something like a family mentor, monitoring our development and providing guidance for navigating the challenges of enhanced life. Her own family had been part of the Blackwood community for over a decade, with children who were now serving in various research installations worldwide. Enhanced communities are incredibly resilient and supportive, she explained. Everyone understands the challenges of transformation and the opportunities that enhanced capabilities provide. Children grow up with a sense of purpose and potential that exceeds anything available in conventional society. The social dynamics were complex, but ultimately beneficial. Enhanced individuals formed professional and personal relationships based on complementary capabilities, shared interests in exploration and discovery, and mutual understanding of the responsibilities that came with their modifications. Most significantly, the enhanced community provided a sense of belonging and purpose that had been missing from my previous life. The work we were doing was genuinely important, expanding human capabilities, exploring environments that had been inaccessible, and developing technologies that would benefit both enhanced and normal human population. My 13th week brought the full revelation of Blackwood Research Institute's true purpose and scope. During a comprehensive briefing for my new position, Dr. Webb provided historical context that reframed everything I'd experienced over the past 3 months. Blackwood has been operational since 1982. Initially as a biological weapons defense program. By 1995, the focus had shifted to human enhancement as a response to environmental challenges and the need for personnel capable of operating in extreme conditions. The facility housed over 300 enhanced individuals at various stages of development, from early integration like my own family to advanced modifications that enabled survival in environments completely hostile to normal human life. Research installations worldwide employed thousands of enhanced personnel conducting work that would be impossible for conventional humans. The biological weapons development phase was abandoned in favor of enhancement research when we realized that improving human capabilities was more effective than developing weapons against normal humans. Enhanced individuals can operate in contaminated environments, survive biological attacks, and maintain critical infrastructure under conditions that would kill unmodified personnel. The quarantined areas that I'd been maintaining contained not active pathogens, but biological samples and research materials related to the enhancement process. Some areas housed individuals undergoing intensive modification phases, requiring specialized environmental conditions and medical support. Laboratory 7's restricted access hours corresponded to periods when enhancement agents were being refined and tested, not when biological weapons were being developed. The air filtration restrictions were designed to prevent cross-contamination between different enhancement protocols, not to contain dangerous pathogens. Your role as Field Deployment Coordinator involves managing installations that serve as testing grounds for enhanced human capabilities and development sites for technologies that will eventually benefit both enhanced and normal populations. Dr. Webb showed me detailed plans for research installations that were expanding human presence into previously inaccessible environments. Arctic research stations were developing technologies for extreme cold survival and resource extraction. Oceanic installations were advancing underwater agriculture and mineral harvesting. High-altitude facilities were pioneering atmospheric research and weather modification systems. Enhanced personnel don't just survive in these environments, they thrive in them. They develop innovations and discover resources that expand the possibilities for human civilization. The space-based installations were the most ambitious projects, involving enhanced individuals who had been modified for survival in zero gravity, resistance to radiation, and ability to interface directly with spacecraft systems. These installations were conducting research that would enable permanent human presence in space and eventual colonization of other planets. Your family's integration prepares them for participation in these expansion projects. Sarah's medical expertise will be essential for maintaining enhanced personnel in extreme environments. Your children's developing capabilities will make them ideal candidates for deep space missions and planetary exploration. The transformation from desperate factory worker to enhanced community member reached completion during my 14th week at Blackwood. The final phase of my biological modification included advanced environmental adaptation capabilities. Enhanced communication systems that allowed direct interface with facility biological networks, and expanded cognitive processing that enabled simultaneous management of multiple complex operations. My physical capabilities now exceeded normal human parameters by significant margins. I could function effectively in temperature ranges from -40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, survive in atmospheric compositions that would be toxic to unmodified humans, and maintain coordinated activity for extended periods without fatigue or sleep. The cognitive enhancements were even more dramatic. I could process multiple data streams simultaneously, maintain awareness of complex facility operations while conducting detailed technical work, and interface directly with biological monitoring systems that provided real-time information about research progress and personnel status. Most significantly, I had developed empathic connections with other enhanced individuals that enabled complex, collaborative work and emotional support during challenging assignments. Enhanced communities functioned as integrated social and professional units, with individual capabilities combining to create collective potential that exceeded the sum of individual enhancements. My first deployment assignment was to an Arctic research station in northern Alaska, where I would coordinate support services for enhanced personnel conducting climate research and resource extraction development. The installation housed 47 enhanced individuals working on projects that included weather modification, permafrost analysis, and development of technologies for extreme cold environment agriculture. Sarah would accompany me to provide medical support for enhanced personnel, while the children would continue their education through specialized programs that prepared them for eventual deployment to research installations worldwide. Our family unit would function as a support team for enhanced community operations in extreme environments. Enhanced families provide stability and continuity for research operations, Dr. Chen explained during our final consultation. Children who grow up in enhanced communities develop capabilities and perspectives that make them ideal candidates for advancement within our research programs. The financial compensation for field deployment work was exceptional. Base salary of $91 per hour, plus deployment bonuses, hazard pay, and comprehensive support services for enhanced families. But the most significant benefit was the opportunity to participate in work that was genuinely advancing human potential and expanding the possibilities for human civilization. "You're part of the next phase of human evolution," Dr. Webb said during my final performance review. "Enhanced individuals aren't replacing normal humans. They're expanding the environments and opportunities available to human civilization." My last night as Facility Integration Specialist at Blackwood Research Institute was spent conducting final assessments of research areas and personnel, ensuring that optimal conditions would be maintained during the transition to my replacement. The facility had become familiar territory, with biological and technological systems that I could monitor through direct sensory interface and environmental awareness that extended throughout the complex. The custodial work that had initially attracted me to Blackwood seemed remarkably primitive compared to my current capabilities. I could now maintain optimal environmental conditions for enhanced personnel through intuitive understanding of biological requirements, coordinate between multiple research departments through expanded communication capabilities, and provide technical support for operations that exceeded normal human comprehension. My replacement was another recently laid-off factory worker, attracted by the same economic desperation that had brought me to Blackwood 14 weeks earlier. He would follow the same integration path, beginning with basic custodial duties and gradually developing the enhanced capabilities necessary for advancement within the research community. "The transformation process is remarkably consistent," Mr. Valdez explained as we reviewed my replacement's initial assessment. "Individuals who are motivated by economic necessity and family responsibilities tend to integrate more successfully than those attracted primarily by the enhancement opportunities." My family was packed and ready for deployment to the Arctic Research Station. Sarah had completed her medical enhancement training and was eager to begin work with enhanced personnel in extreme environments. The children were excited about their new educational opportunities and the prospect of eventually participating in deep space exploration missions. "Enhanced families adapt quickly to new environments," Dr. Chen had assured us. "Your capabilities will continue developing in response to the challenges and opportunities of Arctic operations." The departure from conventional human society was complete but not traumatic. We retained connections with extended family and friends, but these relationships had become increasingly difficult to maintain as our capabilities and perspectives diverged from normal human experience. Enhanced communities provided social and professional networks that were more compatible with our developing needs and interests. Most importantly, the work we were doing provided a sense of purpose and accomplishment that exceeded anything available in conventional employment. We were contributing to human expansion into environments that had been inaccessible, developing technologies that would benefit both enhanced and normal populations, and participating in projects that would advance human civilization for generations. The Arctic Research Station exceeded my expectations for both technological sophistication and environmental challenge. Built into an ice formation approximately 200 miles north of Fairbanks, the installation provided living and working space for enhanced personnel conducting research that would be impossible for normal humans in similar conditions. The facility maintained comfortable internal conditions through biological heating systems that utilized enhanced personnel's improved metabolic capabilities, combined with technological systems that captured and recycled environmental energy. Enhanced individuals could function effectively in the external Arctic environment, conducting research and maintenance operations that would require massive technological support for normal humans. My role as deployment coordinator involved managing support services for research teams working on various projects throughout the Arctic region. These teams were developing weather modification technologies, studying climate change effects on polar ecosystems, and exploring resource extraction possibilities in previously inaccessible areas. The enhanced personnel at the Arctic station represented various specializations and modification levels. Dr. Amanda Foster had been enhanced for extreme cold resistance and could work outside in temperatures that would kill normal humans within minutes. Dr. Robert Kim had developed enhanced cognitive processing that enabled him to manage complex climate modeling systems and predict weather patterns with unprecedented accuracy. Arctic operations provide unique opportunities for testing enhanced capabilities under extreme conditions, Dr. Foster explained during my initial orientation. The research we conduct here contributes to understanding how enhanced humans can function in environments that are completely hostile to normal human life. Sarah's medical work at the Arctic station involved maintaining the health and capabilities of enhanced personnel under extreme environmental stress, developing treatment protocols for conditions that affected only enhanced individuals, and coordinating medical support for research teams operating in remote locations. Enhanced medical practice is completely different from conventional medicine, she reported after her first week. Enhanced individuals have biological systems and capabilities that require specialized understanding and treatment approaches. The children's education continued through remote learning programs designed specifically for enhanced youth, with curricula that included Arctic survival techniques, extreme environment research methods, and preparation for eventual deployment to even more challenging environments. We're learning things that kids in normal schools could never understand, Emma explained during one of our family meetings. How to survive in space, how to work underwater, how to explore planets that don't have breathable atmospheres. 6 months into our Arctic deployment, the enhanced community had become our complete social and professional environment. Enhanced families formed close relationships based on shared experiences and mutual support during challenging environmental conditions. Children grew up together, developing capabilities that prepared them for collaborative work in even more extreme environments. The research being conducted at the Arctic station had genuine significance for both enhanced and normal human populations. Weather modification technologies developed by enhanced personnel could potentially address climate change effects worldwide. Resource extraction methods being pioneered in Arctic conditions could provide access to materials needed for technological advancement and space exploration. Most importantly, the Arctic operations were proving that enhanced humans could establish permanent communities in environments that were completely inaccessible to normal human populations. These communities were self-sufficient, productive, and capable of conducting research and development work that advanced human understanding and capabilities. Enhanced communities represent the future of human expansion, Dr. Foster explained during one of our coordination meetings. We're demonstrating that humans can adapt to and thrive in environments that were previously considered impossible for permanent habitation. The enhanced children at the Arctic station were developing capabilities that exceeded even their enhanced parents. They could function effectively in external Arctic conditions without technological support, interface directly with research equipment through biological connections, and maintain social and educational activities that prepared them for deployment to even more challenging environments. The next generation of enhanced individuals will have capabilities that make current space exploration and deep ocean research look primitive, Dr. Kim predicted. Children who grow up in enhanced communities develop perspectives and abilities that will enable human expansion throughout the solar system. My own capabilities continue developing in response to Arctic conditions and coordination responsibilities. I could now monitor the status of research teams operating hundreds of miles from the main station, coordinate between multiple installations through expanded communication networks, and provide technical support for operations that involve both biological and technological systems. The work was demanding but incredibly fulfilling. We were contributing to human advancement in ways that would have been impossible in conventional careers, participating in research that expanded the possibilities for human civilization, and building communities that demonstrated enhanced humans' potential for adaptation and achievement. After 18 months in Arctic operations, I received my next advancement opportunity, coordination of enhanced personnel deployments to preliminary space-based installations. The position represented the pinnacle of career development within the enhanced community, involving management of research operations that were expanding human presence beyond Earth's atmosphere. The enhanced individuals selected for space deployment had undergone modifications that enabled survival in zero gravity, resistance to radiation levels that would be fatal to normal humans, and ability to interface directly with spacecraft systems through biological connections. Their work was establishing the foundation for permanent human presence in space and eventual colonization of other planets. Space deployment represents the ultimate test of enhanced human capabilities, Dr. Webb explained during my advancement briefing. Enhanced personnel aren't just surviving in space. They're thriving there and conducting research that will enable expanded human civilization throughout the solar system. The space-based installations included orbital research platforms, lunar surface facilities, and preliminary Mars exploration stations. Enhanced personnel were conducting research into space-based agriculture, asteroid mining, planetary terraforming, and development of biological systems that could support human life in environments completely different from Earth. Sarah's advancement to enhanced space medicine would involve developing medical protocols for enhanced personnel operating in zero gravity and various planetary environments, treating conditions that affected only space-deployed enhanced individuals, and coordinating medical support for research teams operating on multiple worlds. Space medicine for enhanced personnel requires understanding biological systems that have been modified for environments that don't exist on Earth, she explained. The work is incredibly challenging, but also incredibly important for human expansion beyond our planet. The children's educational programs had evolved to include space survival training, planetary exploration techniques, and preparation for eventual deployment to Mars colonization missions. Their capabilities were developing in ways that would make them ideal candidates for establishing permanent human communities on other worlds. Enhanced children who grow up preparing for space deployment develop capabilities that normal humans can't even imagine. Emma said during one of our family planning sessions, "We're going to be part of making humans a multi-planetary species." The final phase of my transformation from desperate factory worker to enhanced community leader occurred during preparation for space deployment coordination. The biological modifications required for managing space-based operations exceeded anything I had previously experienced, involving fundamental changes to cardiovascular, respiratory, and nervous systems that enabled function in environments completely hostile to normal human life. The physical changes were dramatic but beneficial. My cardiovascular system was enhanced to function effectively in zero gravity. My respiratory system was modified to process atmospheric compositions that would be toxic to normal humans. And my nervous system was expanded to interface directly with spacecraft biological systems and planetary environment monitoring networks. The cognitive enhancements were even more significant. I could now process information from multiple space-based installations simultaneously, coordinate between enhanced personnel operating on different worlds, and provide technical support for research operations that involved both Earth-based and space-based components. Most importantly, I had developed the expanded perspective and capabilities necessary for managing human expansion beyond Earth. Enhanced communities weren't just adapting to extreme environments on Earth, they were establishing the foundation for human civilization throughout the solar system. Enhanced personnel represent humanity's future among the stars, Dr. Webb said during my final Earth-based briefing. Your work will enable permanent human presence on multiple worlds and eventual expansion to other star systems. My family's transformation had reached similar completion. Sarah had become one of the leading experts in enhanced space medicine, with capabilities that made her essential for maintaining enhanced personnel during interplanetary missions. The children had developed capabilities that prepared them for leadership roles in Mars colonization efforts and eventual exploration of worlds beyond our solar system. The economic desperation that had originally brought me to Blackwood Research Institute seemed remarkably distant. I had evolved from a displaced factory worker facing financial ruin into a leader within an enhanced community that was expanding human civilization beyond Earth. My family had transformed from ordinary suburban residents into pioneers preparing for life among the stars. The transformation from custodial employee to enhanced community leader represents a journey that extends far beyond individual career advancement. The Blackwood Research Institute and its associated installations worldwide have created communities of enhanced individuals who are expanding human capabilities and advancing civilization in ways that would be impossible for normal humans. My current position involves coordinating enhanced personnel deployments to research installations throughout the solar system, managing support services for communities that are establishing permanent human presence on multiple worlds, and overseeing the development of technologies that will enable eventual expansion to other star systems. The work is challenging, demanding, and incredibly fulfilling. Enhanced communities have demonstrated that humans can adapt to and thrive in environments that were previously considered impossible for permanent habitation. The research being conducted by enhanced personnel is advancing human understanding and capabilities in ways that benefit both enhanced and normal populations. My family has become integral to the enhanced community's expansion efforts. Sarah's work in enhanced space medicine is essential for maintaining personnel during interplanetary missions and establishing medical protocols for permanent communities on other worlds. The children are preparing for leadership roles in Mars colonization efforts and eventual exploration of planets beyond our solar system. The economic necessity that originally attracted me to custodial work at Blackwood has evolved into genuine commitment to the enhanced community's mission of expanding human civilization. The transformation wasn't just biological, it was philosophical, social, and professional. Enhanced individuals don't just have improved capabilities, they have expanded perspectives and purposes that exceed anything available in conventional human society. For individuals facing economic displacement and seeking opportunities for meaningful work, the enhanced community provides possibilities that extend far beyond conventional career options. The biological modifications are permanent and beneficial, the social communities are supportive and purposeful, and the work contributes to advancing human civilization in ways that will benefit generations. The rules that initially seemed arbitrary and mysterious were actually careful protocols designed to ensure safe integration into enhanced communities. Following these protocols exactly is essential for successful transformation and advancement within enhanced social and professional networks. Most importantly, enhanced communities represent genuine evolution in human capabilities and potential. We aren't replacing normal humans, we're expanding the environments and opportunities available to human civilization. The work we're doing will benefit both enhanced and normal populations for centuries to come.